Hey, what's going on? So today we're going to talk about some things you can do to hack sirtuins, which are these proteins or genes that you can activate, and they play a very important role in aging, immunity, energy metabolism, brain health, cellular health, homeostasis of the cell, which is where you want to be if you want to maintain your health and age gracefully. All these different things. So we're going to get into it. First, we're going to break down some of the main benefits of activating sirtuins. And then I'm going to tell you, or I'm going to share with you specific things you can do so you can activate sirtuins and reap all these different benefits. And a couple years back, about 7 years ago, when I was dealing with all these different symptoms from Lyme disease, I learned these different biohacks. And some of the biohacks I did, that the main thing they were doing is they were improving mitochondrial function. But some of the biohacks, they were actually activating sirtuins, and sirtuins actually improve mitochondrial function. So a lot of these things are connected, and when you do these different things, you can improve the health of your mitochondria, which helps your body to make more energy. When your body makes more energy, it can heal, it can repair itself. But you also optimize a bunch of other cellular processes, which include improving your immunity, improving autophagy, which is repair and regeneration of cells, taking out the cellular trash. And these were all strategies I did beyond diet and exercise. And exercise does play some of a role in this. Diet does play some of a role. But if you have a key few things wrong, then you are only going to go so far. So if you really want to, if you're working on optimizing your health, or if you've felt stuck, some of the things in this video are really going to help you out. So let's go through. I've got a list of them here. There's a lot of different benefits from sirtuins. So number one, they help you increase your energy levels. And a lot of people that I talk to today, and people in general, it's a known thing. People are struggling with their energy. A lot of people have low energy. It's hard to wake up. They have to hit the snooze button multiple times. I remember when I was dealing with my stuff, lots of times I wouldn't remember my commute to work because I was so tired, I was so out of it. But people are pounding lots of coffees, or doing Red Bulls, or Arizona teas, whatever, all these different things to maintain energy. So when you do the right things, when you activate these sirtuins, which, by the way, sirtuins work hand in hand with AMPK. I've done other videos on AMPK, so if you watch those other videos, a lot of what I share in those videos, actually, it does the same thing, because if you activate AMPK, then you're activating sirtuins. And a good way to look at them is kind of like the pedals on a bike. So when you turn one, it turns the other when it comes to sirtuins and AMPK. But in addition to increasing your cellular energy output, which helps you repair, it helps you feel better, it also increases mitochondrial biogenesis, which means it's a way for you to increase the number of mitochondria that you have. So remember, your mitochondria make your energy. If you can increase your mitochondria, you can increase the energy output from your body. It's kind of like with your car. Your car goes as fast as the power of your engine, or the horsepower of your engine. If you want to make your car go faster, most people, when they put in regular fuel versus high test, they don't really notice any difference in performance in the car. But the way to make your car go faster is A, you can turbocharge it, but B, by increasing the horsepower in your engine. And that's same with you. When you increase your mitochondria, you're essentially increasing your horsepower. You're helping your body make more energy. When your body makes more energy, everything works better because you have more energy to repair things. Think about during California, during the middle of the summer, they have rolling brownouts. So not everyone can run their AC at the same time. You have to pick and choose what you use. You might have to not do laundry for a while. And your body, the same thing happens in your body. When it doesn't make enough energy to meet the demands, your body can't do everything that it wants to do. And that's when you get symptoms. That can make it a whole lot harder to heal, and it can make it harder to lose weight. It can make it harder to focus, because remember, the brain is an energy hog. So when you aren't meeting your energy demands, your brain is just 2% of you, but it uses up 20% of your energy. And that shows up as poor focus. It can be anxiety, it can be depression, it can be migraine headaches, it can be any number of things. So making more energy for your body is a very good thing. You do that by activating sirtuin in the AMPK pathway. What else here? It also activates mitophagy, which is repair of damaged mitochondria. So when your mitochondria become damaged, they're no longer to make energy, or they make it at a much lower efficiency level. So with mitophagy, you're getting rid of those damaged parts and you're repairing it. But it also initiates autophagy, which is cellular repair. There's lots of different autophagies, or ophagies. Autophagy is at the cellular level. Mitophagy is at the mitochondrial level. But sirtuins activate autophagy, so helping your cells. When your cells make energy, there's waste. And when the cell is not working efficiently, it accumulates that waste. Over time, it works less and less efficiently. Then it becomes a senescent cell. Once it becomes a senescent cell, it's no longer making energy, and it's recruiting other cells to become senescent cells. So through autophagy, you can take out the cellular trash, and you go from having older, not very efficient cells to younger, more efficient cells. What else here? It also repairs DNA. So another thing that drives aging is you get damaged DNA. Your DNA, they tell your RNA which proteins to make. When the DNA becomes damaged, you're messing up the proteins that you make. And that's a very intensive energy process. So when your cells are making proteins and it makes the wrong protein and has to make a new protein, that takes a lot of energy. So when you repair the DNA, you decrease the frequency of misfolded proteins and just damaged proteins that aren't working and aren't doing what they're supposed to do. It increases fat burning. And one of the ways it does that is it also increases insulin sensitivity. So if you're dealing with blood sugar issues, if you are approaching diabetes or at diabetic level status, then activating sirtuins, that's going to help you to reverse that. So this is something very important for you to do if you have blood sugar issues. And lots of times blood sugar issues, they drive energy loss. They drive fatigue, exhaustion, brain fog, poor focus. That's a big driver of that. So when you improve your insulin sensitivity, that's going to help to normalize your blood sugar. It improves brain function. And one of the ways it does, sirtuins decrease inflammation not just in your body, but also in your brain. And it also improves brain metabolism. So your brain making energy, so your brain can make neurotransmitters, new neurons, synapses, all the different things that your brain needs to do to perform at its best. It increases your resilience to stress. So we live in a very stressful world today. I was just talking to this client of mine last night. She's in Canada. I didn't even realize this, but Canada's on total lockdown again. If she leaves her, not her county, forget what she called it, but if she leaves the area where she lives and she gets caught, it's a $2,000 fine. So that's stressful, but everyone's dealing with different stress. Maybe your favorite restaurant shut down. Maybe your business got impacted. Just listening, if you turn on the news, if you turn on social media, there's all these things that are very stressful. So when you activate sirtuins, that increases your resilience to stress. It increases your resilience to disease. And I read a very interesting statistic the other day. This was actually on the CDC website. So hopefully I don't get dinged for this, because you got to be careful which facts you share these days. But of all the COVID deaths, just 5% of them only had COVID. All of them had multiple chronic conditions. On average, they had 4 additional chronic conditions. So was it the COVID that killed them, or was it having 4 chronic conditions like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, things like that? So if that's you, if you're in that cohort, then you want to be sure that you are activating sirtuins so you increase your resilience and you start to reverse these chronic conditions, which is very possible, by the way. I was dealing with a number of them when I had Lyme disease, and I'm completely symptom-free, doing what I'm going to be, or some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you in just a couple minutes. Let's see, it helps to regulate immunity. Something else that's very important today. If you made it through this whole past year or whatever, you didn't get sick, or maybe you did get sick and you recovered, guess what? There's probably going to be other viruses coming through. So it's very important that you have very strong immunity, so whatever comes your way, you're able to fight it. You have a strong immune system. Healthy activation of sirtuins is one of the ways that you keep your immune system strong. Having a healthy gut, that's also super important too. Let's see, it activates T3. So another big challenge today for a lot of people, especially women, are thyroid issues. And when you can't activate T3, then guess what? You've got thyroid issues. So another way to activate T3 is by activating sirtuins. It increases leptin sensitivity. So a lot of people that are obese, they are leptin resistant. So what's really interesting is what drives diabetes is insulin resistance. But 5 to 7 years before you develop insulin resistance, you become leptin resistant. And there's a whole spectrum of different symptoms and disease that comes with leptin resistance. But one of the most common ones is weight gain, because leptin is your master hormone. It tells your brain your energy status. So it tells your brain if you have enough energy reserves. And when you're leptin resistant, your brain doesn't know if you have enough leptin reserves, or doesn't know if you have enough energy reserves. And when it doesn't know that, it's kind of like having a broken gas gauge in your car. And if you have a broken gas gauge in your car, like I did, one of my first cars was a Volkswagen Rabbit, it had a broken gas gauge. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time. If I did, I would have just filled it up a lot more often. But there were a couple times I ran out of gas. And this was before a cell phone. But when you have a broken gas gauge in your body, you tend to eat a whole lot more, because your brain's not telling your stomach that, okay, you've had enough food, stop eating. And you eat and eat and eat. You have food cravings, things like this. Activating sirtuins can reverse leptin resistance and bring you back towards leptin sensitivity. It also improves liver function. So something very important today, we are all bombarded with tons and tons of different toxins. You've got to have your liver working very well. I've talked to probably 3 people in a row that have sent me their blood labs, their AST and their ALT, which are enzymes in the liver. They all had very elevated liver enzymes. And a big driver of that today is we have just a very increased toxic load. People are drinking more today too, because they're very stressed. But when you activate sirtuins, you're improving the health of your liver. It can actually reduce fatty liver disease, which is very important, because a lot of people today, they have non-alcoholic fatty liver. Traditionally, people that got a fatty liver, it was from drinking too much alcohol. But today, a lot of people, just from their diets, from having a broken circadian rhythm, from just exposure to a lot of toxins, they're getting a fatty liver. So activating sirtuins can help you reverse fatty liver. There's more, but I think that's given you enough things, enough incentive to do some of these things that I'm going to share with you. So number one, the first thing, and hopefully you're doing this already, is exercise, but more importantly is high intensity exercise. So I've shared this before on other videos. 2 days a week, very first thing in the morning, I will do 5 sets of sprints, where I'm just going all out. I'm going up a hill. It's a slight incline to make it more challenging. But there's another paper. I'll do a video on this other paper, but they looked at all different kinds of exercise. And the point of the paper was to figure out, okay, what's the best way to increase mitochondrial biogenesis? So growing more mitochondria. Sprints is the most effective way to activate mitochondrial biogenesis. And remember, intense exercise activates sirtuins. Sirtuins activate mitochondrial biogenesis. So doing something really intense, if you're not able to do sprints right now, do something else that's intense, that's not going to hurt you, but do something that really gets you huffing and puffing. Resistance training comes in a close second. So resistance training or weightlifting is also very good to activate sirtuins. Calorie restriction or intermittent fasting is another good way to activate sirtuins. And intermittent fasting on its own, calorie restriction, has all kinds of other benefits. And one of the benefits is it activates sirtuins. Now, Something I forgot to mention here, I just actually noticed this in my notes. In order for you to activate sirtuins, you need to have healthy levels of NAD positive. And I recently did a video on NAD positive, and I talked about a compound you can use to activate NAD positive. But something before that, before you do any supplements, before you take these different compounds, to have healthy activation of AMPK, of sirtuins, of NAD positive, and having that good ratio of NAD positive to NADPH, you've got to have an intact circadian rhythm, and you've got to be getting quality sleep. So before you run out and get supplements, make sure you fix your circadian rhythm. Make sure you're watching the sunrise in the morning. Make sure you're getting outside during the day and getting these intermittent sun breaks, getting that light exposure in your eye so you're setting your circadian rhythm. Then at night, you want to be blocking blue light so you can get a good, deep, restorative sleep. And that is at the top of the list for things you can do to really activate and to maintain healthy levels of NAD positive, of sirtuins, of AMPK. Next is cold exposure and heat exposure. So both of these extremes are good to activate sirtuins. Another hack I do is I'll combine these different things to get more of a synergistic effect. So 2 days a week, not only am I fasting, I'm getting cold exposure, I'm also doing intense exercise. I'm also doing a fourth thing, which also activates sirtuins, which I'm going to mention in a minute. Let's see, but also heat exposure. So if you're not ready to do an ice bath in the morning and you have a sauna, you can do the sauna while you're fasting and then go out and do some sprints. And that's also going to activate sirtuins and AMPK. Let's see here. Next, another option for you to do is red light therapy. And for a lot of these things, I'll be sharing the research papers. If you really want to geek out, I'll put links below down in the description if you want to go through and read the research. Some of this research is done on rats, but some of it's done on humans as well. But the point is there's a lot of research supporting these different things activate sirtuins. Next, plant compounds. And like I said, if you just go out and just get these supplements, they will do you some good, but these other things I mentioned first are going to give you more bang for your buck. So you really do want to fix your circadian rhythm. You really do want to fix your sleep, but you want to be doing these other intense hormetic stressors to really activate sirtuins in your body. But next, one of the best compounds to activate sirtuins is resveratrol. And what's interesting is when plants are exposed to extreme stress, so big swings in temperatures, they make more polyphenols and bioflavonoids. So a wine you've heard me talk about, and I learned this from Jack Cruz, but my wine of choice for the most part is Malbec. And the reason is because Malbecs are very high in resveratrol. And one of the ways that they're high in resveratrol is because Malbec is grown up in the in Argentina. I think it's the Andes Mountains in Argentina, but it's a very high elevation mountain range. And the higher the elevation, the higher the UV light. The higher the UV light, the more resveratrol the grape makes. So you've got these vines that are way up high in the mountains, very high elevation. They're exposed to high levels of UV. Also at that elevation, they have very extreme temperature fluctuations. During the day, it gets very hot. During the night, it gets very cold. Sound familiar to what I've shared with you already? So the other thing about these wines is the water that feeds them is glacier melt water. So way up in these mountains, you've got snow. Gets hot during the day. That melts the snow. And the snow that melts first is much lower in deuterium. So the water that makes these grapes is naturally lower in deuterium. And the thing is with wine is you are getting lower levels of resveratrol, so you're not necessarily going to get enough resveratrol from drinking a glass or two of wine to really activate sirtuins. But if you are going to be drinking wine, you do want to be drinking a higher resveratrol wine, so you get more bang for your buck. But just something interesting I thought I would share. Another compound that helps to activate sirtuins is quercetin. And in the recent video I made on NAD positive, on a compound that really activates that, that also contains quercetin. So I'll link that video. You know, maybe there's like a little eye popping around somewhere. If you click on that eye, it'll give you the videos and some other options. Also, dark chocolate. So for me, when I eat dark chocolate, I eat 100% cacao, dark chocolate, so there's no sugar in it. Sometimes I do 90%, but it's interesting. I used to hate dark chocolate, but just from slowly increasing the percentage amount of dark chocolate that I eat, I've gotten more and more used to it. Now I love it. Now I love the 100% stuff, and even eating the 90% dark chocolate now, because I just had a bunch of bars I had bought, that tastes kind of sweet to me now, whereas before it used to taste like super bitter. So getting a quality dark chocolate, that's another way to activate sirtuins. Turmeric. So when I cook, lots of times when I have breakfast, I'll have eggs. When I make my eggs, I'll do turmeric on there. I'll do ginger because the two have a synergistic effect. Black pepper, that makes the curcumin and turmeric more bioavailable. I'll do a little cayenne pepper as well. But I'll put turmeric. I do taco salads a lot for lunches. When I make my taco meat, I'll put a bunch of turmeric in there. But just get into the habit of adding turmeric to your food. If you don't like how it tastes, you can supplement curcumin. Also berberine. So if you do have blood sugar issues, berberine is really good. Excuse me. Berberine is really good to help you manage your blood sugar levels, but it also activates sirtuins as well. And then EGCG, which is a compound found in green tea. So you can either drink green tea, or you can just buy the supplement. You can get the extract of EGCG, and that's going to help you activate sirtuins. Now, for even more of a benefit, you want to combine these different things. Like I said, I'm combining fasting with cold exposure, with intense exercise of sprints, and I'm taking some of these compounds in the morning and some other compounds as well to really activate sirtuins, to activate AMPK, to further activate autophagy, mitophagy, all these different things to keep my mitochondria humming along so I can slow down aging, so I can reverse my biological age. Can't do anything about my chronological age, but these are keys to me maintaining my health. These are the strategies I teach my clients. So start to implement these strategies into your life. Make them a habit. Make them something that you're doing several days each week. Some of these things you can do every day, like just sprinkling some turmeric on your food, supplementing resveratrol. But make sure you're doing these other more challenging things too. Doing sprints, lifting very heavy weights, limiting your food intake throughout the day through either intermittent fasting or doing a 24, 48, or 72-hour fast or longer. A lot of really good benefits in that. But really challenge yourself, push yourself, do things on a daily basis that are going to activate sirtuins, keep your NAD positive healthy, activate AMPK so you can have healthy mitochondria, you can reduce inflammation, you can help your body make more energy, you can increase your fat burning, and not only look your best, but feel your best as well. So thanks so much for checking this out. Hope you learned something new, and share below in the comments something that you plan on adding to your routines to help you activate sirtuins, AMPK, so you can improve your mitochondria, you can improve your cellular homeostasis, and live a long life free of disease. So again, thanks for checking this out. I'll see you again real soon on a new video.